At your lowest point, your woman will leave you. And you have to be prepared for that and understand it for what it is. Does that mean every woman's going to leave you at your lowest point? Probably not. Right? There are some women that will be ride or die and that will stick with you, and maybe they'll be in the comment section upset that I made this video, right? But you have to just accept this if you're a man. I'm talking to the ladies and the men in this video, but let's call it like it is. How many stories have you heard? Have I heard? Experiences that I've had where at your lowest point, and sometimes, and we'll make a distinction here in the video, because like what happened to me most recently, most of it was not under my control. With what happened to me and the shifts that happened in my life, I had to take some massive L's in my business. I got, deplatformed. I had to move my nationwide real estate team from one company to another, and that kind of fractured my team. It was a mess, right? And that was also due to like censorship or them trying to censor me and all that stuff, right? But there's the other side of it, right? If we as men become lazy and do nothing and sit around, right? I'm referring more to the other one. But both are going to be present in this dynamic, and you need to understand it. So whether it's out of your control or in your control, your relationship is susceptible to break if this happens. Why? We naturally bump heads, and relationships are built. They're not found, they're built. And they're a lot of work, right? Now, I believe that relationships are great. I, at some point, will get in another relationship with a chick for sure. Not right now, but for sure in the future. Because I see the power in it versus just being a lone wolf forever. But you got to work at it, and you're going to naturally butt heads, and there's going to be, arguments, friction, and that kind of stuff at points. However, if those things happen when you're at a low point, a lot of times those are the things that end relationships because you hit a tipping point. Not from the male side, but I'm speaking particularly from a female side, from their perspective and their standpoint. Because it makes sense. Everything in them wants the ideal man, the best option, right? And if you're at that low point and the perception is this isn't going to get better and this sucks, they're going to leave. And that's why I don't harbor any negative feelings about it. I just understand it for what it is. So when it happens, and it's happened to me, and I'm sure other people will share their stories here about when it happened to them, as much as it sucks, it's just the cold hard truth of human nature and reality. So what we need to do is understand it for what it is, not allow it to destroy us, and then do everything in our power to ensure that we're living a righteous life. As men, we're being ambitious. We're doing what we're supposed to do. We're getting better. We're not getting lazy, right? Because I've done a lot of things in my life and in my relationships to kind of set these standards. Like one for me, and any relationship I'm in with a girl, right? There's a strict physique standard. We may have a conversation later if at some point I did decide to have kids, right? Because I'm not going to obviously hold her to having a six-pack while she's pregnant. But you get what I'm saying. Meaning, I'm not going to get fluffy and overweight, and neither are you. That would be an example of us slipping. Both parties, but especially men. My standard is, I may not be chiseled like a Greek god forever, but I'm going to be in good shape. I'm not going to have a bunch of fat hanging off my body. I'm going to be active. If I have to get up at 4 or 5 in the morning to get the workout in because I'm so busy, I'm going to do it. But that's a standard. And the more that in the dynamic you hold those standards that keep that fire lit in this bond, the better off you're going to be, and the easier it'll be potentially to navigate the lows in this relationship, in this bond that you have. But even if you do all the preventative measures, it can still happen to you. It's happened to me. Again, I'm sure people will be talking in the comment section that it's happened to them. But I think the perspective we really need to take on it is just an understanding that it is what it is. We're not going to change that. Hopefully, we've done our job at vetting somebody who would potentially stay there. And this could even go to an extreme, like car accidents, loss of employment. Somebody has a traumatic injury and they lose a leg or they become a burn victim or something like that. And there's been instances where the woman stays, and even for the man, they stay. I've seen and read the stories. They picked the right people. Very, very good human beings in those cases, because those are more extreme. However, if there is a breaking, we can say, a dissolution of the relationship, it's okay. It's okay. So from this perspective, you do not allow it, as we unpack it, right? You do not allow it to just tear you up emotionally, because that's where I think the crux of this is. People start, well, what's happening? And this, how dare you, this and that. But see, that's all emotional. So as much as somebody can be upset and say, well, it was messed up that they left them at their low point, that's okay. Because if you understand human nature, if they're going to leave, that's when they're supposed to leave. As harsh as that is, it's just the reality. And the only thing you can do is just take it in stride. Be as selective as possible when you choose a mate, and then set those strict standards with each other about how you're going to interact with each other, how the relationship is going to be, and how you're going to run this thing. Because again, where people mess up in this category is everything's on autopilot. Oh, love will solve everything. That's a bunch of fairy tale bullshit. Love will not solve everything. You better treat your relationship like a business and put parameters and really prioritize it. Spending time with each other, like everything that you got to do. And everybody's going to be different. I'm not going to sit here and tell you how to do it. I can give you certain suggestions, but that's it. I'm not here to be some fucking guru, right? But you have to take this thing. People just slide into things and they get in, oh, now we're in a relationship, and then you don't set boundaries on anything. You don't set any standards. It's like, well, no wonder you're destined for failure if you do that. Because once you start doing that, right, setting these standards and boundaries, you see where you align at a philosophical level and like a beliefs and at a value level. And I think a lot of people just don't want to go that deep. Well, number one, because they haven't gone that deep with themselves to really identify where they stand with a lot of things in life and how they view life and their perspective. But a lot of people want to get stuck in that honeymoon phase of just the passion of the first couple months, first 6 months. Oh, everything is all great. No, you got to do this stuff from the beginning. When you do that, you now set the foundation, lay the foundation for the potential of there being a longer bond. And this is why I think the relationships that I've been in have been long. The last one being almost a decade. And you look at most people nowadays, they can't even get into relationships, right? Part of it is a vetting process and being selective, but the other one is laying things down from the get-go and setting the standard. And then taking accountability when either party isn't holding up their end of the bargain. And then having a limit, because you have to have a limit. Let's say I lost my job, right? And I knew that was a deal breaker eventually, because it's like, hey, you got to bring in money. Well, I'm going to put my head down for the next 6 months and rebuild. We'll be fine. And then let's say future girl that happens, I'll just tell her, don't believe me though. Watch me every moment, every day, because you're going to see I'm going to be busting my ass to rebuild and then get back to where we were and beyond within 6 months, even though I just lost my job. Maybe I got fired, whatever it was, right? I'm just giving you an example. Then you have to deliver. Then you have to perform. And if you have a good one and they see you tirelessly working every day, they may stay. But even if they didn't, it's okay. You know why? Because even if that relationship ends and they leave because of that, that's the duty and obligation I have to myself anyway. Because I hold myself to that standard. Having the relationship now is good. It's complementary. It doesn't suddenly just make me, oh, I'm going to do this and that. No, you already have the high standard before they even come in. But you know that bolsters and improves that bond and relationship, because it's going to spill over into the other party. I always viewed the male perspective and the male position as that in a relationship. And I think it's been very beneficial in my experience. Sharing with them, raising the standard, and this is how we do things, and showing them what I believe to be the better way of what I've done to forge and build myself and get better, and how them participating in it can make this thing better, and why I decided to hold myself to this high standard, and what that journey has looked like, and what I've learned, and what I recommend that she learns. Read this book, do this. Almost like a mentor-mentee in a way with a lot of these things. And it's been great. But I have, again, aside from these relationships, come across a lot of women who aren't interested in that, which is fine. But if that's where I'm at and where I align, then that's something that I would want. But again, if up front you guys are establishing these things, whether it's this or anything else, you kind of see more eye to eye. And we've had a lot of cordial interactions where I'm just like, you know what, maybe we shouldn't get together. because we've had conversations with other women about potentially getting in a relationship, but very quickly before it's ever official, we realize, you know what, it's not going to work. I'm over here, you're over here. It's cool. We're living two different lives. Why entangle? Passion only lasts so long. Yeah, sex is good, but what else? And I think a lot of people are basing their relationships and creating them based on stuff that's not permanent. Or they're just labeling flings and situationships or whatever they call it, hookups, one night stands as a relationship when it's not. Hoping that something's going to happen instead of saying, hey, let's put the cards on the table. Let's talk. Now, again, as a man, this is where you guys need to come in and lead. I think this is where a lot of men are falling short. You have to be okay leading and calling the shots and leading these discussions and where it goes and kind of setting these parameters. I believe that's our role. Now, again, if you're dealing with people who you don't see any need to do that, that's fine. Then do what you do. But this will help you a lot. Because then if that one day comes where potentially the woman leaves you, you'll be okay. Sure, I'm not going to sit here and say it doesn't hurt or you don't feel any emotions. You do. But it won't destroy you is the point that I'm trying to make in this video. It won't destroy you. You're still left with you. Sure, relationships are great, but you're still left with yourself. Is it really that bad? Yet when we allow it to destroy us, that's what digs people into those holes mentally and drags them through the mud and potentially turns them into this depressed addict. And it just brings out a side in human beings that's unfortunately not very pretty. But when you understand what I said in the beginning, that this is just human nature. This is how we are. We're always looking for the next best thing. You won't take it so personal and dear to the heart. Because remember, emotions are fleeting. They come and go. One day, somebody can tell you they love you, and the next day, maybe they don't. That's okay. It's messed up, but hey, that's just what it is. But what we're trying to do, I believe right now, that's causing us to suffer, is we're trying to fight with that. Now, human nature is going to shift over time. Definitely not in our lifetime, right? We're not going to live to see it. But I think doing our best to have a more objective and detached emotionally viewpoint of this, I'm talking mainly to the men, it's going to help you navigate this more. Because right now, what I see in a lot of mentalities of people, and believe me, I've been there too, where it's like, you know what? I just don't want to do relationships, whatever. I'll just casually hook up. Or a lot of dudes just say, you know what? I don't even want to deal with women at all. And that's a choice you can make for sure. And I understand why a lot of men would do that, especially men who feel a bit kind of shunned, put to the side. Nobody paid attention to them, shunned by society, right? Maybe girls mistreated you too. Maybe you were the guy that got used. I get it. So I understand that perspective. I can empathize with it. However, if you do decide to dabble in relationships with the opposite sex, you really have to do your best to take this mindset. It will help you. It's not going to solve all your problems, but it'll help you deal with the erraticness and the emotions and how stuff just, again, it's not going to logically make sense to you. You're like, this person loved me. We've been together for so long. We've done all this. Why would they suddenly leave in a little rough patch? You know, a couple months, or it might take us 6 months to rebuild or something. Like, why would they leave? We've been together for 8 years or 5 years or whatever. Again, this isn't logical. This is human nature. And a lot of it isn't logical at all. It doesn't make any sense. We just have to acknowledge it for what it is. Seriously. I mean, and it's tough. It takes a lot of, maybe I've finally come to terms with a lot of this stuff the last decade because I'm older now, but it's really become clear to me, and it's made life a lot more weightless, if that makes sense. Like, I don't take stuff so serious. I enjoy things. Good stuff happens, bad stuff happens. That's life. I still get shit done. I'm still moving and grooving and moving like a freight train through life. But all these things about human nature and all these occurrences and stuff like in this video, I know it's going to be a part of my reality. I accept it, and it's okay. I'm not going to let it wreck me emotionally or get under my skin or frustrate me or make me resentful. Why? What's the point? How do we win from that? Because that's really what it is. You could take my approach potentially, or maybe be mad, be upset at the world, raise your fists in anger. But which one is going to lead to a life that's more fulfilling, happier, more relaxed? You being on your grind more, being more motivated, switched on, and ready to go. To where, like, 30, 40 years from now, you look back like, man, I had a good life, right? So I just accepted as fact that my woman will leave me at my lowest point, and it's okay. Now, I want to do my best with things that are under my control to fight and make low points. Because again, you look at the graph, even if you're up here, you're still going to have low points. I want to make the low points still good enough to where people wouldn't even consider, a woman wouldn't even consider leaving. Because even that low point is still really, really good, right? But this is a different thought process and approach. Let me know what you think. I'd be curious to hear from you guys. If you were left at your lowest point, what did that look like? What did it sound like? Because this is a topic I think that people just need to talk about more, and we can't be so afraid or shut off when it comes to talking about these subjects. And I know the title is going to upset people, but it is what it is. All right. See you guys.